Hey all, this is Jordan Peterson. I am looking at the art policy and programs surrounding the city of Las Vegas, Nevada. Initially, I had chose to do Henderson, which is sort of a suburb of Nevada, or excuse me, of Las Vegas proper. But I found that the policies and the programs that were in play really kind of encompassed all of the Clark County major cities. So I focused in on Las Vegas specifically because I really liked the accessibility and sort of the layout as far as the organization of their programs and a lot of the ways that they do things, which we'll discuss here shortly. As far as policy and programs go, the Office of Cultural Affairs is sort of the heart of where all of these kind of come from. The mission of this office is to create a more livable, safe, and vibrant community by delivering performing and visual art experiences, education, and services to residents and visitors of the city of Las Vegas. This Office of Cultural Affairs helps to provide performing and visual arts planning and services to the Las Vegas community and city departments. The Office of Cultural Affairs has had a long history within the city, growing and morphing to meet the city's ever changing needs. And if you know anything about Las Vegas, it is definitely a growing and morphing city. And one thing that I've found really interesting is how progressive a lot of the art programs are, and how efficient the board members and the people that are kind of backing these programs are really aware of how they need to continue to meet these changing needs. The artistic programs and initiatives are an important driver for the recovery of economic development. They hope to be the spark that keeps the cultural engine moving forward for the community and its future. So if we jump on to www.lasvegasnevada.gov, this is where I kind of started my research as I was looking for the programs available, and they are awesome. Everything is really easy to find. If you go up to the very top tab, the second one in where it lists things to do, there's a drop down under arts and culture, and then it has an awesome breakdown of these four um, subcategories that we'll talk about. So there's the performing arts tab, the visual arts, the public art, and then cultural affiliates. And we're going to go through each one of these through these slides and kind of discuss what these programs offer. So as we look under performing arts, if you click on that, there's even more subcategories that are offered here, and everything is super user friendly, and there's a lot of information. I was pretty surprised that as I was researching some other cities, that there wasn't a lot of information um, and accessibility for the public. So if anybody wanted to jump on just the basic city website, they could easily access the information for all of these art events and programs. So the first thing they have here is performance events, which lists a lot of events around Las Vegas that aren't quote unquote strip shows. So there's not, these are less of the neon sign advertised billboard, Donning and Marie or Cirque du Soleil. They're smaller events put on by other nonprofit or city art organizations, and everything from getting tickets to where they are is located under that first performance events tab. Second, they have the performing arts facilities, and I actually run a national dance competition that runs in California, in Las Vegas, and in Portland. And this is where I first went looking for me to find a facility to host my artistic event. So, this performing art facilities link gives you the option to look through all of the places in Las Vegas where there are performing arts being shown, and also places to rent, so that if your organization would like to utilize them, there's a facility tab for that. The performance classes and workshops is awesome. It sends you to a secondary link, and that offers a bunch of recreational options for adults, for students, for after school, for the elderly, for those that wish to volunteer or become instructors. So that performance classes workshop external link is really a great one for people to utilize once they get here and they've looked through what the city website can offer. That external link right there is a great way to kind of expand the information that's out there as far as what is offered with classes and workshops, a lot of free workshops, a lot of community programs that are being initiated. And then lastly, on this page, we have the Rainbow Youth Theater. And that Rainbow Company Youth Theater is a nationally acclaimed, award winning youth theater group that operates under the city of Las Vegas, under this Office of Cultural Affairs. And they have provided professional training for young people of all ages. They do theater classes, um, and classes are offered year round for people, I think, as young as 4 years old, is what the website noted, clear up to 18. And they concentrate on all kinds of dramatic education. So there's improvisation, there's creative drama, and all kinds of aspects of theater that are available through that Rainbow Youth company. Next, from that main link, you can access the visual art tab, and this is giving information on all the visual art that's available in the city of Las Vegas at any certain time. So they have the exhibits tab, the classes and workshops again, gallery location, and artistic opportunities. So each one of these main categories, the visual arts, the performing arts that we've looked through, have these subcategories, which just gives a plethora of accessibility to all kinds of art, which is something, again, that I just found so exciting. And I know I'm kind of taking you step by step through the website here, but I just thought that this was really important, that it wasn't something I really had to go digging for, that the provisions that the city is giving and the attention to the art is really great. So here under the exhibits tab, it's information on locations of current exhibits, and some are more short term, some are long term, and this goes from big things that are being put up in large casinos and lobbies of big hotels, but also on the more local level, showcasing local artists that have done sculpture or painting. Or there's also a lot, as we get through a couple different slides, some real avant-garde art that's happening, where there's these artistic challenges where people are being challenged to create art out of different physical objects. And anyway, there's some really excellent things under this exhibits tab. The classes and workshops is great. It's again a resource for people who are looking to get some experience in different artistic endeavors. That's another one of those external links that shoots you to this recreation portion of the LasVegasNevada.gov website. And there's everything um, from classes to tickets to workshops to camps, and different ways that you can access those workshops, whether it be in person or online. And it's really great. Next to that classes and workshops, we see the gallery locations, which is not unlike the exhibit tab that we talked about recently. There's a Charleston Heights Art Gallery, and that has work that's chosen by proposals submitted for single artists or group exhibits. There's a Mayor's Gallery that's on the 5th Street, and it's based on a certain topic that's relevant to the community. There's a Chamber Gallery, a Grand Gallery, a West Las Vegas Arts Gallery. And so that everything on that on that tab right there shows the address, what's being presented at the gallery, the hours of the gallery, the facility phone number, and oftentimes whether or not there is a cost associated with viewing that gallery. At the very end here, we have the artistic opportunities. And this tab is really interesting because it is, again, an external link that takes people to the Art Registry of Las Vegas, which is a place for fine art exhibit opportunities. So there are instructions on how to submit and register your art. There's different artist opportunities when they call for digital images, or where they're looking for qualifications for art that meets a certain criteria for them to present. So it's a really excellent link for local artists who are kind of stuck on how to get their art out into the community. And this link is a great way to do it. There's instructions, there's a little about information on that tab. So as far as local artists having access to showing their art kind of on a larger scale, that's an excellent place to do it. Looking at the next tab, which is the public art tab, we see again the 4 subcategories: temporary exhibits, public art virtual tour, arts commission, and artistic opportunities. So this temporary exhibits is much like the exhibit tab from the visual art, where you can look at temporary exhibits that are being held around the city. So if you are wanting to look at a certain type of art, or you're interested in a certain type of exhibit, this link right here tells you where things are, how long they're going to be there. Again, address, time, At the public art virtual tour. Okay, so this is something I really wanted to get down and give a lot of information on because it's amazing. This public art virtual tour is an external link where anybody can jump on this Las Vegas, Nevada.gov website. Again, we've gone through things to do, art and culture. We're now under the public art tab. And this is a virtual tour of all the fine art that's currently in the city of Las Vegas. There shows a map of the city, and it pops up with little red location pins. You can click individually on each of those location pins, and it shows you what gallery, which exhibit, um, what special event is being held, and what art is being showcased there. And you take a virtual tour so that you can see all of this art without having to leave. And one thing I was talking, I have lots of family that live in Las Vegas, and one sister-in-law in specific was an art major and has a lot of interest in local art. She was saying that it's great because recently in Las Vegas they have really cracked down on parking, and there is zero parking anywhere down on the strip unless you want to pay an incredible fee or have your car valeted. And she said this is one really awesome way um, to even see if you're interested in going to the exhibit or the gallery. So you can do the virtual tour in lieu of physically attending, or to kind of give you an idea of what kind of art is being presented. So that public art virtual tour link, excuse me, is really excellent. Next, this art commission. This is something that we're going to jump into a little bit later in our slides, but it's an external link that takes you to a whole nother organization, which is the Las Vegas Arts Commission. And this is, again, a great resource for programs, for volunteer opportunities, for teaching opportunities. There's explanation on how your organization can receive grants. And I'll show you a little bit later the way that this is organized and some of the things that that offers. But again, it's another great external link that shoots you to a whole another website that, again, falls under, excuse me, the art and cultural office here in Las Vegas. And it's just, a lot of the information seems redundant, but there was so much of it, I didn't even care. I thought it was amazing that there's so much presented and that there's people that are making the effort to get this information out there so that art on a different level than what you're probably thinking when you think about Las Vegas art is, available. So lastly, here on artistic opportunities, again, it's very similar to the link prior to, where artists can utilize different opportunities to submit art, to showcase art in galleries and exhibits. There's lots of organizations that are looking for art to be showcased, and so this is a great way to kind of get your name and your art out there so that it can be considered for a lot of different opportunities. Okay, lastly, we have this cultural affiliates tab. And this has 6 subcategories here that we see, and it is all of the cultural assets or affiliates that have a tie to this art and culture office. So we have the Neon Museum, the Mob Museum, the Smith Center, the Natural History Museum, the First Friday Foundation, and the 18B Las Vegas Arts District. So these are all external links that take you to each of these websites. And I did, when we discuss funding a little bit later, I talk a little bit about the Smith Center, which has an amazing website. It gives all kinds of information. And again, these are places where you can access information on things like the operas that are happening. The Las Vegas Contemporary Dance Group is there. There's so many different artistic and cultural events happening that aren't being handed out to you in flyers on the strip, that so many people don't know about it. But this is such an excellent way that the city has provided for people to have immediate access to those things. So jumping back now to the Las Vegas Arts Commission that I talked to previously, their slogan here is connecting community through public art. And so if you see up at the top, under that green arrow, we see there's an art map. Again, shows the little pins around the city where you can access different types of art events that are happening. Again, there's an event tab, art in public places, programs, opportunities, the art registry, the cultural links. So this mirrors a lot of the same uh, information and things that you can utilize as the city page does. But again, it's just another place to access that. The programs and opportunities on this page are a little bit more thorough. It shows you how you can become a volunteer in rec programs, or if you're looking to become part of one of the art council boards. There's a lot of information on this website. And this art commission was established in 1987, and it operated through, again, the Office of the Cultural Affairs. And the commission is responsible for encouraging the creation of permanent and temporary public art projects that transform public space, simulate intellectual discourse, and celebrate the cultural diversity. Through a commitment to excellence that prioritizes community collaboration, the Las Vegas Arts Commission nurtures and promotes artists, elevates civic awareness, and helps contribute to a sense of place that fosters creative enterprise, generates cultural tourism, and keeps Las Vegas at the forefront of global interest. And one thing that was noted in a lot of great articles that I read was that there is so much tourism that comes through Las Vegas, and there are so many people in and out of the city for many different things. And this Office of Cultural Affairs, and especially the Las Vegas Art Commission, are really pushing to make sure that accessibility to fine art and to art in all genres is available and is advertised to those people that are coming through. Funding. So as we kind of look at the funding for Las Vegas Arts and the policies that they have kind of behind it, the major source of fundings are coming from three general areas. And the first general area is grants. If you go back to the Nevada Arts Council, which covers all of the major cities in Nevada, not just Las Vegas, but we do fall under that umbrella. There's a wonderful link right there that shows 7 grants that are available for nonprofit art organizations, and then 7 grants that have a little bit wider spectrum that are available to different organizations, whether or not they be nonprofit or whether or not they be specifically art, if they're more art education. But grants are a major way that funding comes in, especially for this city. The second one is private donors. My mother-in-law is a retired deputy district attorney for Clark County, and she said that there was a lot of private donors that she worked with that either had ties to or were really fond of certain organizations that they would privately donate really large sums of money to, either annually or during a particular season. So private donors is another way that a lot of these art programs are funded. And then lastly, the city budget. I'll talk a little bit that 1% is guaranteed. So they have a really great mayor right now who has a real interest in keeping art advocacy and availability really prominent in the city of Las Vegas. And I'll share a quote from her a little bit later here, but having the backing of the mayor, the city does budget a certain percentage toward making sure these programs are funded. And I was talking to my husband because I'm not super, super great with numbers, but I thought 1% guaranteed seems quite small, but the city of Las Vegas deals with so much money because of the tourism that boosts their economy. So 1% on certain years can really be impactful, and it's not as little amount as I had initially thought. I was reading an article from 2013 discussing the city budget and the 1% guaranteed, which said that from 2008 until 2013, when the article was being presented, it said that there had been a $1.4 million budget given to these art programs, which, when you break it down, means there was, approximately $125,000 yearly being donated into these programs. And when you look at all that they're providing, that doesn't seem like it would go that far. So that's why things like these grants and these private donors are going to be a lot more important than just that 1% guaranteed by the city budget. I discussed earlier, looking at the Smith organization there, One thing that they have on their website that's excellent is an accessible tab right on the main page on how to be a sponsor and a donor. And there's other large organizations that are finding creative ways for people to become private donors. One way is through membership, where you have a membership to the events that are held. Another one is being a corporate sponsor. A show dedication was an interesting one that I found again on their website, where you can dedicate a performance or a concert to someone, and then you donate a certain amount of money to have that happen. Planned giving, and then again, an endowment campaign. So funding, like most arts organizations in most cities, are given some money from the city budget, private donors, and then grants mostly is where it's coming from. Uh, there is a lot of fund cutting that's happening in a variety of areas. There's an education crisis happening in Las Vegas and kind of Clark County in general, where they're having a really hard time finding teachers, and then securing teachers. And because that's an issue, there's fund cuts that are there, and that's why they can't keep teachers. And so when funding is low, arts programs get cut. And then when they've cut art from education, typically they're not funding external art programs as well. So it's just kind of the ripple in the water that, um, there's fund cutting year to year in different areas. Recently, there was a big article about funds that were being lessened in the sheriff's department. And one thing that's really great is the Nevada Arts Council is really hyper aware of the economy and the ups and downs that it experiences, and realizes that there's not always going to be a tremendous amount of money available going into the arts, especially when they see things like the school and education systems falling behind in that area. But they meet. They have kind of a meeting that pulls both arts and education boards and organizations and programs, where they discuss kind of funding and community outreach, and making sure that these things can kind of piggyback on each other. That if we're pressing for educational funds, that we're also pressing for art funds, because we see the correlation between the importance of both, and giving the community and especially kids accessibility to both. So a really interesting. It's on my works cited page. It's a layout of the last meeting, or excuse me, one of the most recent meetings. I think it was the second to last. It was held in 2010, where they discuss kind of a game plan to continue promoting the importance of arts to the community, and um, and pairing that with the importance of giving art education paired with traditional education to kids. The Las Vegas mayor Carolyn Goodman is awesome. She noted in an article that art is a key component to having the world-class city that the residents of Las Vegas envision. Creativity and beauty flourish in the city's art district through our public arts programs and our museums and venues like the Smith Center for the Performing Arts. I'd ask all residents to support the arts in Las Vegas so that our cultural offering can continue to grow and excel. And one thing is, I was thinking about kind of the issues that are facing Las Vegas and the recommendations that I would have, and obviously budgeting and making sure that there is money that's going into these programs, because of course myself as an art advocate see that that's something that needs focus. But I love that there is somebody working on the same side as the arts, that the mayor right here puts out, a plea to residents to support the arts in Las Vegas, to make Las Vegas more than just kind of the Sin City that people see it is. And of course, that tourism generates so much for that economy. But there's so much more to Las Vegas. And I think that art is really starting to blossom. It's a big city, and there's a lot of opportunities for artists there in many capacities. And so I really loved that she was backing the arts, and that she seemed like she's making it, and she's making the effort to communicate with the art programs and art organizations in her city to make sure, like she says, that Las Vegas is the world-class city that those who are living there envision, and that the creativity continues to flourish, and that the art district and the public art programs are something that are continued they're continually nourished, and that the growth is being recognized, and so that the community can kind of see the impact that they're making and support them even more. Here's my works cited page. I'm going to try and turn some of these into external links, and I'm not sure if that will work as I post this on YouTube, but this way you can kind of jump through and see the different places that I accessed information. This Nevada Arts Council is awesome. Like I said, it covers all of Nevada, the major cities. There's Reno, there's Elko, there's, Boulder City and Carson and Henderson and lots of those. But yeah, have a look, and hopefully that is a little bit of information on the programs and policy that are in play in Las Vegas, and it's awesome. Everybody go jump on that website, that www.lasvegasnevada.gov. I promise it's awesome. Thanks.